the string, pull the string!
Scoodly, wow, wow, wow.
High area backstage.
The band started in Sydney, Australia, and between myself and the guitar player by the name of David Lowy, him and I started it, and we wrote a bunch of songs together and pretty much went to Los Angeles and recorded those songs with a guy called Jon Fields, who I'd worked with prior, a couple of years prior, and you know, we get back to Australia and we have these songs recorded, and somebody hears them and goes, "Oh my goodness, you'd be really good to play with ZZ Top, you want to come out and play?" And we went, "Oh, okay," so we put a band together, and it sort of went from there. We were invited on the ZZ Top shows, and then we were invited on the Aerosmith shows in Australia and New Zealand, and then from there we got invited up here to the USA to do the Uproar Festival. So in the last 10 months everything happened really quickly for the Dead Daisies. It's been very exciting, and we're sort of wrapping up the end of the Uproar tour as we speak. We've got 4 shows left. We're in San Francisco at the moment, and it's been beautiful. And you know, Marco's joined us, and Richard Fortus from Guns N' Roses joined us, along with Dizzy Reed, and so it's a lot of a you know, a round robin of musicians.
I met David Lowy. He was performing, opening a tour with a band called the Demolition Divas, and we were out in Australia with Thin Lizzy, Motley Crue Kiss tour, and spoke to David briefly and David Edwards' management, and they suggested that they might be interested in me kind of doing some things together with them, and I always say absolutely, you know. They sent the music. I looked at my schedule, and I fell madly in love with the music and this man's voice over here.
Oh, thanks,
Just, no, but I mean it. It killed me. I'm going, wow, I got to be part of this. So it worked out, you know, and it's been a blast so far. You know, playing with some of my favorite cats around. You know, haven't been around for a few years. If you can put a band together of, you know, pick and choose, these would be the cats, you know. But Jon is just killing it on the vocals, man. He's just screaming. And we got Dizzy Reed, we got Richard Fortus, and David Lowy, of course. Bobby's taking over for him for a minute. And today we have Brian Tichy on drums, who is one of my all-time favorite drummers. So he's going to start and do the last 4 shows here in California.
Yeah.
And it's been great, man. It's just been a blast. Good music, good friends. I haven't gone out and had dinners so much until recently. We've been having a blast on the road, actually. It's been fun.
Basically, he's putting on the pounds because he reckons we do too much eating and not enough, you know, sort of playing, really. That's the thing with the festivals, you know, when there's so many bands, you know, you kind of go on and do your 30, 40 hour long set, and then you got, you know, 23 hours to kick around. For us, you know, older guys, you know, we don't drink and carry on like pork chops anymore, you know, so it's like good food is what you sort of like seek out everywhere you go. So it's okay, man.
It's been good.
So,
It's been good. I've been enjoying it.
yeah.
It's definitely another side of it.
Yeah.
And digging out and make it, you know, getting to know each other more and all that. It's been great. It's been a great experience. Can't wait to do some more, you know?
Yeah.
So, only the future can tell.
My background started in New Zealand, of all places. I grew up in New Zealand, born and raised in New Zealand, the youngest of 11 children. And basically, my household was full of music. I sort of got to listen to all kinds of music, every kind of music, because my older brothers and sisters, you know, were always commandeering the stereo. So I never got a chance until I kind of grew up. But I heard everything, and we were always singing. I'm half Māori, which is Polynesian, half Māori New Zealander. So, you know, it's a very, very musical culture, and very family orientated. So, you know, it's just one of those things. You know, grew up in a great place, and I eventually moved to Australia, which is like, you know, 2.5, 3 hours flight from my hometown, and you know, a bit bigger, better beaches, all that stuff. I mean, beaches, not beaches. And so, you know, just making music, been making music all my life, loving it. You know, writing songs, producing stuff, and just you know, just loving it. It's awesome. Yeah, no, you know, INXS. Yeah. I spent 3.5 years touring the world with INXS, and we were good friends back in the '80s. And my band Noiseworks, we were very successful in Australia at the time, and you know, Michael had passed away, and I think it was like 4 years almost before the band actually decided to do any proper touring. It was just when I came on board. And you know, we travel all around the world, and we'd do all these interviews, and pretty much every interviewer who didn't know me from a bar of soap, you know, so they'd be going, so why are you in this band? I go, well, put it to you like this. I said, Michael did duets with like 4 people. It was Ray Charles, Chrissy Hine from the Pretenders, Jimmy Barnes, and me. So there you go. So, you know, we're good friends, and so it was a great time in that band. They're great songs, and yeah, it's a shame they've called it a day.
The beginning. I like to think, because of sobriety. You know, I'm going to celebrate 26 years of sobriety, September 20th, and I know I talk about it a lot, but that's my story. I like to think that that's when my real career started. And I was talking to Brian Tichy about it earlier. In '86, I got sober, and things just started happening. I met Bill Ward in recovery at a treatment place, and Ozzy, and he was doing his first album, you know, Bill Ward, drummer for Black Sabbath, obviously, and he brought me in. He took me under his wing, and we started recording, and that's how I got back into the business. I had done some work up till then, but let's just say that I kept sabotaging myself, you know, because I had a real bad drug problem and alcohol, and so from that point on, I just decided I was going to really take care of business, and what a gift music was in my life, and started playing and showing up on time showing up on time, prepared myself. I took pride in what I did and what I was doing, and one thing led to another, and you know, Jon Sykes came in shortly after. I had done some work with Edgar Winter, quite a few people, Al Jarreau, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many out there I can't remember. A lot of studio work. And Jon Sykes needed somebody to replace Tony Franklin on the second album, Geffen, Blue Murder. And he came into the club where I was playing with my jazz trio, and he needed a fretless bass player. And yeah, he's the cat. I did a lot of work with him too, man. And the connection with Thin Lizzy was through Jon Sykes. I think we did, with Jon, we did 7 albums so far. And he connected me with Thin Lizzy, the voice, and you know, been working with Thin Lizzy since '94, off and on. And then again, David Coverdale, Whitesnake, Ted Nugent, to name a few. My friend, you know, Neil Sean, Soul Circus. I've done a lot of work with him. He's one of my favorite guitar players out there. He's a good friend, and he calls me a lot. So, you know, Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries. I'm working on her 3rd album now, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's been amazing. Daniel Powder, I just did an album for Daniel Powder with Josh Freese and Tim Pierce, some of the cream of the crop in the session world and players. And that was Howard Benson production. So there's a lot of stuff cooking, man. I'm really blessed, and I'm really privileged to be doing what I'm doing, and I respect it now. You know, I show up on time, and I have a great time doing it. So that's a little bit of my story.
Well, you were late the other day for lobby call.
I was. I was late. Yeah. Well, I am a little beat up. I get beat up on the road, man. I got to say, the sleep deprivation thing has been a big factor in my life, but that's okay. You just work through it. And the time change? That's right. You know, you travel. A lot of people don't realize you travel through different time zones. Like me, you know, if there's nobody there kind of telling you, now we're changing to a different time zone. That's what happened, right?
That's what happens, yeah.
And so I showed up a little late, and I was like freaking out.
3 days late.
Mexican time. But that's a little bit of my story, you know. I just I adore what I do. It's a privilege, and I treat it as such. You know. Oh, when I heard Jon, yeah, that's what happened. They sent the music, man, and I told them right away. I said, "Whoa!" I heard Jon's voice, man, and I've been very lucky. I've played with and worked with a lot of singers, a lot of players, and there's just certain amount of cats that are gifted naturally, and this guy's just got it. I mean, it's amazing, and and he inspires me. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, it's a cool thing, man. You definitely want to, you know, when you're a musician, you definitely want to be part of something that's good, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to be here. You know, absolutely.
The Dead Daisies album sort of came about because David Lowy and myself, we met up, and you know, he wanted to come. David wanted to come play in my band, and I sort of went, "What for? I got a guitar player." So why don't we just get together and, you know, see if we can write a song? That's might be a bit more fun. So anyway, we got together, and we just found we had this really strong chemistry. And the first song we wrote is a song called "Man Overboard," which is on the record. We probably got together half a dozen times, and 6 or 8 times, and we come up with like 34 odd songs, something like that. And we chose 11 of them. We arranged them just on acoustic guitars, all written on acoustic guitars. And then we went and recorded them, those 11, and those 11 are what's on the album. So the chemistry is there in the songwriting department. But since we put this band together, since we've been doing a lot of shows, particularly in America and Australia, with Richard and Marco and stuff, we're sort of next phase is to go into recording with the band, this band of individuals, and you know, see what direction it takes there. I mean, the whole idea was really to try and make an album which kind of had our influences, you know, from sort of Faces meets Bad Company meets Free meets, you know, that 70s kind of simplistic melodic rock where it's kind of, you know, riffy, big choruses, and real. You know, no overproduction, no technology, overuse of technology, which I think, you know, because the thing is with me and listening to music, today's music, there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff out there, and there's so much stuff that I just don't know what's real, you know. And I just wanted to make an album that was just straight ahead rock and real singing, real playing, real energy, and real, you know, sort of commitment and soulfulness. You know, coming from Australia, you know, and growing up in the pub rock scene, where, you know, it's always been about playing live. So I've grown up in an era where you had to be able to, you know, play your instruments, sing your songs, and perform. Otherwise, you know, you're in the pubs and people just throw shit at you. So, you know, you learn to sort of
training.
Survive. It's really great training.
It is.
And you know, with the Daisies record, Dead Daisies record, it's one of those things where, you know, we were recording the songs and resisting all temptation to, you know, add too much technology, or and I just knew, no, it's better live. It's much better live than on the record, and that's the way a band should be. When you go to see the live experience, it should just be like, oh my God, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
It's amazing, because you can't capture that on a record. You can never capture it. But you know, if the songs stand up in that environment, then it can only enhance it when everyone's as a force is moving forward together playing that music. That's why all those bands from the 60s and 70s, I mean, they were always awesome, you know, because they're just players. They do this shit.
Oh man, I keep thinking about Bible Row when he said "Man Overboard." Absolutely hit the mark. I mean, there's so many songs on this album that's just unbelievable. Lock and Load is a big one that he wrote with Slash. I love bluesy stuff, and that's his ballpark, you know. There's so many, man. I mean, I still keep insisting Bible Row. For some reason, there's a punky attitude there. Yeah. The lyrics the message is great, you know. I believe in that song for some reason. My gut tells me, but there's so many. There's a lot of good. Tomorrow, you know, Yesterday, Man Overboard, and then we do a few of them on this set, you know. But we did go into the studio and
in New York, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks back, we recorded 3 new songs, which we are finishing up at the end of this tour in Los Angeles. Going in the studio to finish those up. So, and that's awesome, you know. So that's exciting in itself, just to be able to, you know, sort of take the band and the players and go and see what colours come out of, you know, their input. Yeah. And we'll see how it develops.
Having a blast. Being creative, having the blast, having the place to play. It's all there, you know, it's all good. When I found out he was doing that, I said, oh man, I was leaving Australia, because I've been a fan of that thing, man. Jesus Christ Superstar. And yeah. He's done it a few times.
Yeah, I did. In Australia, in fact, we were the I was asked to do. I'd never done a theatrical production before, and my band Noiseworks had broken up, and so I actually entertained the idea, and so I played Judas in the production. It was the first time an arena production of a theatre show had ever been done anywhere in the world, which we did in Australia, and we did sold out like 90 odd shows. Nice. Played to over 1 million people in Australia alone. So it still holds all the box office records in Australia, which I'm very proud of to have been a part of. But singing Judas was amazing because it's such a tortured character, you know, such a torn character, but it's just a great rock singer's, you know, playing to sing. I think Tim Rice and Angela Weber, they got, that's, to me, it's the perfect sort of, it's the best musical that's ever been, really, because it's a complete piece from beginning to end. It takes you on a journey, takes you on an emotional journey, and the songs and the dynamics of the songs and the interaction between the characters is flawless. It's almost perfect. So it's a rock opera, and in Australia when I did it, they got all rock singers. We had Angry Anderson from Rose Tattoo, who played King Herod. We had John Farnham, who is an absolute legend, solo artist in Australia. He played Jesus, and I played Judas. Kate Sobrano, who's a very famous female artist in Australia, she played Mary, and you know, it was just brilliant, you know, and yeah, it was a great thing to be a part of, and you know, I got to hang out with Tim Rice. He's a character. He's a great bloke, and yeah, just a part of my history, I suppose. I mean, yeah.
You got to sing to be part of that one. If you know what I mean, not just sing. You got to sing. Yeah. Oh, you know, I've got, you know about the trio. We used to be like real busy during NAMM show. We've done a little bit of the jazz circuit. You know, what happened is we all started getting real busy with other projects that took priority. The keyboard player, Renato Neto. He got recruited by Prince, and so that kind of took him out of the loop. Prince kept him busy for 10 years, man. He just left the gig. And then Joey Heredia was a great drummer. He's one of my favorite drummers to play with. He also was producing and playing with everybody. So it was one of those things. And for me, I've been really busy as well. So it took a back seat, you know, and then whenever we can put some dates together. We'll go out and play. We'll always do that. But you know, our journey takes us into different places in the music industry, and you just go with it. But after that, I got approached by Frontiers. I was touring with Whitesnake and singing some of the stuff with David Coverdale, and the label came and asked me for a meeting in London, and I put out this album, Live for Tomorrow, and Richie Kotzen co-produced, co-wrote, co-sang, co-everything. He's a great guy in the studio. He came in. Cohabit. Well, that's a different story, a different book. But no, he was great, man. Just unbelievable in the studio. Really creative. That's another cat that you got to meet, and you will. But amazing musician and human being, singer, writer. Anyway, they called me. I kept putting it off for a year and a half because I wasn't really interested. I was, you know, my trio was what I wanted to do, but they weren't interested in doing anything that was fusion or jazz. So they wanted a rock and roll thing. So long story short, they said Richie is ready, and we put our, you know, two and a half weeks together. And I called some of my friends, Ted Nugent, Steve Lukather, Tommy Aldridge, Brian Tichy, Doug Aldridge, to name a few, to come and play. And my son Marco was playing bass on a couple of tracks too. So it was another fun project, and it came and went so quick. And I've toured behind that a little bit here and there whenever possible. But check it out; that's available. After that, the other label approached me, and we did something like I do with the trio, you know, with Joey Heredia and Steve Weingart on keyboards, and Rafa Moreira on guitars. That one's called Casa Mendoza. And Mascot is the label, and that's available. So, and there's a live album out there. So just go to marcomendoza.com and, you know, find out info. You know, right now we're trying to focus on this and see where we can go with this, and I'm really excited, actually. So. Well,
thanks for having us. I'm Jon Stevens from the Dead Daisies. If you are interested in checking us out, go to thedeaddaisies.com. or Dead Daisies on Facebook, and have a listen. I mean, have a look, and yeah, might see you at a gig. Come to a gig.
We're on stage in what, 35 minutes? Yeah.
We are.
Come out and say
Yeah,
hello,
you got
man.
35 minutes to get here from New York.
Yeah.
Albuquerque.
That's it. New Mexico.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Thank you.
We are in retreat.
Come to show 'em where I am.
Destroy the humanoid. Intruder alert, intruder alert. Intruder mana escape.